Here we go, guys. Welcome, welcome.
Yes, welcome. So glad that you could be here, and everyone's in here. We're dealing with
Jen was first. Jen the birds.
Jen and the birds was first. Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm so excited. Day of the cow. Yes, you have made a live Day of the cow. So glad to see you. There's our KK, awesome sauce. Miss Alice Vex, good to see you. And as people roll in, we will say hello. So yeah, crazy stuff going on, more crazy stuff. So basically this is about, hopefully you guys can support us in our craziness. So good to see everyone. Sin Havoc, DJ, Karen, good to see you. I remember you had the energies 1111 and I keep getting messed up. But sometimes people, they have a name because they don't want their other names said. So it's one of those things. So good to see you. Hi.
Jason from the land down under.
Jason from the land down under, Miss Jenny Pace. Hello. Quintress 82. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's so wild. I misplaced my iPad, and I don't know where I put it, and I can't find it. It's just so weird, because usually I follow along on the iPad. So we are feeling the energy. It's just kind of wild out there. It's kind of crazy. I heard his human's pretty wonky too. No, it looked pretty quiet. Yeah, it brought up the Schumann, then it didn't look too bad. Let's see.
Before the storm.
Yeah, that could be. Again, shifting timelines. I think the timelines are really shifting. See here's the Schumann right now. Power's 13. It's pretty quiet, pretty low. A couple days ago we had a big burst there.
Oh, so is that a blackout or they just haven't measured it there yet?
Well, this is still coming. So this is the date. So this is going to be 526, and it's in UTC, so you got to convert it to your local time zone. But yeah, overall, relatively calm and quiet. And even the news cycle is kind of relatively calm and quiet, but there's the same items popping up over and over again. And you do also have the disclosure thing that just seems to be really advancing. And you have a lot of people that are totally justified in being fed up and done with certain things with this world system.
Robbie, you guys said hi to every single person except me. Robbie, we sing to you, Robbie. You get the happy birthday songs, buddy. You are one of our dearest friends. M. Cruder, good to see you. Mars squared Pluto exact midnight tonight. Yikes! That's going to be interesting. I wonder what's going to happen. What's going to happen there? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so maybe Robbie, you're not showing up on the screen at times. That's really weird. Jenny Pace, good to see you. Well. So what do we expect when Mars is going to square Pluto at midnight? Chaos, she says.
Say chaos. Yes.
Well, it does feel like things are building. I think humanity's getting to the point where it's kind of fed up with things.
Anytime Mars goes, I feel kind of anytime Mars can get too close to something, you're going to have a little pushback of some kind. So.
Wow. Yeah, well, we got another asteroid that came by. Asteroid 2026 KU1 flew past the Earth. 0.149 lunar distance. That's pretty close. It's the 9th closest known asteroid to fly by within 1 lunar distance recorded so far this year. I've heard a lot of people refer to these being somehow having something to do with Third Eye Atlas. And, a lot of people do get very similar information when we're talking about things like that, the channeling. I think a lot of people are coming online. You could see a lot of people are really coming online with their quote-unquote paranormal abilities.
A lot, yeah, definitely. People coming up, getting more and more sensitive, and that's normal when you're on this path, and you're already, usually you end up, with a group like us because you're already sensitive and things just don't make sense on the planet. But then you get into this and you start doing the things, you get the energy work, you start learning about it, and you then at that point you tend to become a little more sensitive. So you kind of watch your surroundings and what situations you put yourself in, because the body, once you start feeling those intrusions on your frequency, that you have to change the way you live. You can't always continue to sustain that way, but there's responsible ways of doing things, but sometimes people are not so responsible because they cannot stand the energy and they don't do too good. So it is hard out there, you guys. Be really good to yourself. Go out and get a massage.
She keeps saying that, but neither of us had massage in years and years and years and years. This particular asteroid came to within about 31,600 miles, they say. It's only about 5 to 12 feet in diameter, so not a large one. Most likely it would burn up in orbit. By the way, the website is transforming. And there's actually going to be other websites related to it. There's a lot in plans. We're having talks with the wonderful person that is helping us with this endeavor. I heard that you guys had almost 95-degree temperatures in the UK. Is that correct? This is saying it's the hottest day on record in the UK, spring day, 94.6 Fahrenheit. 34.8 Celsius. Wow.
Oh my gosh, imagine that. That's definitely not helping our current situation.
The extremes. I mean, it's all about extremes and just pushing you from one thing to another. It's said in the golden age that the weather was like an eternal spring. It was like an eternal spring. There was no storms, there were no hurricanes, there were no tornadoes and things like that. No, it was tranquil, peaceful, and kind of idyllic. Well, I hope we see something getting a little closer towards that in our lifetimes, because we certainly don't have that. What we have here feels to me like just weather modification always, all sorts of energy, control systems and directed energy weapons. This, when you bring an area up to 95 degrees so quick, it's just weird. And again, it just compounds the situation, because what we're finding is it's almost like everything that could go wrong weather-wise is going wrong, and that does not feel coincidental.
I know, Karma Doc saying she didn't get a notification either. So, and then, poor Robbie, I guess we didn't see him on his screens. Sorry about that. We just don't see. And, we've had some really strange goings on. You guys know how this channel goes. We have probably the most we have so much technical difficulty. I mean, we're handicapped as it is technically, but then we get grief on top of it. So, with the sound and everything else. So
it hasn't been much with the sound for years now.
For years, but it's always something. Usually right now they play with the OBS and cut us off.
It goes with cycles.
And they
pick something to use to trigger us, and
they
do
move
to another.
They do, and they just hit the button. And we've had some crazy stuff happen. Like one time we had a whole video set up for you guys, and then the screen blinked, and then we had nothing. It was gone, and we were already online, so we had to just roll with it. We did okay. Yeah. But thanks, you guys, for sticking with us through all the difficulties. I think that's what builds a partnership. It's like, we work with each other through thick and thin, no matter what our issues are.
There's Frankie. Thank you, Frankie.
Aw, well, thank you, Frankie. Frankie, big
Our
blue
chicks
pup.
love your chick.
Oh, we like that. We'll have to do more chick flicks. Ha! Ha! Get it?
Chick flicks. Yeah, that's cute. And, it's China, too. China has had a lot of crazy weather, just like we have. This was almost 12 inches of rain falling within 2 hours. 12 inches of rain in 2 hours? That's insane. They've had some really serious floods in China. it's just a mess everywhere you look. It's just crazy, and it is claiming lives, and it is adding to what's a growing concern for the food supply, and that is a serious concern. This is too. This is big, and this is David Nino Rodriguez, and let's listen to him a bit if we can.
Right now, this is what it looks like right here, all dirt. All dirt. You're looking at an environmental catastrophe, what this is. The new Meta data center in Los Lunas, New Mexico, takes 75 million gallons per year to cool down the data center. And this is what we're left with. Another data center is being built in El Paso right now, a Facebook Meta data center. How much more water is that going to take? This is going to be, folks, this is apocalyptic. I've never seen a river like this. By this time of the year, you couldn't even swim in this. It would take you under. The undercurrent would take you out. This is unbelievable. No more water. So what does that mean for the farmland, the ranch lands, the cattle, the houses? I mean, are they soon going to start moving people out of this area? Are they going to start moving people out of here to 15-minute cities? You're not going to be able to survive out here? What's going to happen to the agriculture? Folks, what we're looking at here is unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this before. I'm sounding the alarm bells. This has never before happened. I've never seen it like this. Bone dry. Bone dry. All of it. Unbelievable. Better write your congressman, because these politicians are as corrupt as they come, all getting paid off for this. So what does this mean? We're going to trade out humanity for AI so they can track and trace you better? And who's bringing this in? Well, it looks like to me, Trump is taking down the deep state, right? He's going after Obama. He's going after everybody, but he's replacing it with AI data centers, ruining the environment. This used to be a gushing river. It's gone. If we don't do something now, folks, humanity's screwed. I'm telling you that right now. We are screwed. All right, folks.
So, yeah, and I was looking for others, and there are others, again, showing the Rio, just to get different perspectives.
River, and there's absolutely no water. I came to the river, and there's absolutely no water.
It seems like it's gone suddenly. It's just really disturbing. This is in New Mexico. Of course, it goes from New Mexico. We've driven right alongside it. Down, you go over by El Paso, and then it is the border between Mexico and U.S.
I know, interesting comments. Karma Doc says she thinks that and there's always a cover for something, right? Always. So using the data centers, throwing up the data centers, and then diverting the water underground so that they have water underground. Wouldn't that be appropriate if they slowly but surely started diverting the water underground? If there was going to be a huge catastrophe, and say all the politicians, their families, and so on and so forth, that they would need a lot of water. These are for small cities under there, and for food and for everything else to sustain for so long. And wouldn't it be appropriate if they started converting the water? Because above ground, like if the water is above ground, like it could get contaminated. So why not start diverting it now? I believe it. I could see that happening. It's a scary time that we live in, where, we're looking at massive scale operations for people getting out of the way. What about us? What about us? I guess, what about us? I guess we see each other on 5D, because I think something at that scale, we're not going to survive it.
So, yeah, it has hit that the data centers could be a cover for something else. But then again, I think they also create the conditions of a catastrophobic mindset. Always expecting doomsday, always expecting, things to just completely fall apart, like there's a natural cycle that you can't stand again. It is said that in the turn of the yugas, there's always loads of catastrophes because the system, the natural system, is going to reset itself. And, we have picked up through the years that there's some aspects of this reality right now that can't be allowed to go on much further because it is that disharmonious with the natural order and natural world. So I think a lot of what they do is to make sure that we're going to have a worse transition period. They make sure by doing what they did with all the fracking. I mean, if we pull up and look at fracking wells on Google Earth, they're in the tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands. Are there millions of them? I don't know. There might be. They're all over the place. But yeah, I mean, you also have the WF, which just said, and we've shown that clip where this woman that reminds me of Barbara Bush, but she also reminds me a little bit of Aleister Crowley, is making the statement saying, well, maybe you don't get climate change, but you'll get when you don't have water. You'll get a water catastrophe. Well, this is a water catastrophe, and it feels completely manufactured to me.
Well, the thing is, technology, the right kind, good technology could fix this, because water is in our atmosphere. Water is everywhere. Water is everywhere, and it doesn't have to be the way it is. But for the idea that they want complete and utter control, it is disgusting what they are doing. And yes, Karma Doc, those big buildings could be used for some type of detention centers. I mean, just not good. And I
house AI and drone armies.
Yeah, and AI and drone armies and all kind of stuff, and I'm not leaving my land. I will stand here until ...
Yeah, this is Dr. Jane Ruby. Why are the data centers so big? 18 million square feet for what? What data is so important all of a sudden? Why do they require so much electric power? What kind of equipment's going inside? Something is really wrong. Yeah, I completely.
What kind of what? That's a lot of space.
How big is the new data center campus they're building in the Texas Panhandle? It's the biggest one in the world. It will use as much power as all of the homes in the entire state of Texas combined times 2. It will use more power than 38 states.
This, to me, this has such an extraterrestrial vibe to it. It has, to me, such a advanced technological requirement that they're putting out there for what they're doing is just like, it's beyond us. I think it's beyond what we can conceive. It's almost as if you're familiar with Star Wars, right? Remember they were building the clones and hiding them away somewhere to be used at a later date. Well, they were using clones against a robotic army of drones, right? Well, I feel like this is kind of different, but in the same time, the same. I think
I agree. Martine had something to say too.
This feels, and thank you, Max, this feels like, when the humans rebel, I really feel like, what are they doing with this? They're building some sort of robotic drone suppression system.
Hear us. So Max, thank you. And Max says local regions with same populations will save themselves. Crooked slums, think USSR. Yeah, there's a lot of yuck in the making. And, what's going to be above ground is going to be us. Who knows? Maybe in the apocalypse we'll be able to go online and connect with each other. Oh, thank you, Miss Mary. We appreciate that. Thank you so much. I'm sorry if I did miss that one. But yeah, it all helps, you guys. And wouldn't it be but cool if we were somehow, some way able to connect in a bad situation? I think the soul growth or the soul connection would probably help us through anything that's super devastating, like trading ideas, sharing plans, sharing experiences. I kind of feel like we're going to be left in the cold in a way, yet we're going to be monitored by AI. So I don't know what we're looking at, but yeah, these detention centers having that underlying frequency that they have, I feel they're collecting a frequency that belongs to us, and they are utilizing it. So I feel that strongly they're collecting a frequency that's coming from Cygnus. And the data centers are creating a space where they are collecting it. However, it belongs to humans because it's an energy about fairness. It's an energy that has everything to do.
Is this related to
Golden Dome,
Can you sense
baby.
anything? Can you get anything on that?
So
is this about fueling the Golden
the
Dome?
Golden Dome and everything that we have going on, like Karmadoc just saying that connects a lot of information in my understanding. So like has the same vibration of the data centers, does it not? And I have to say, I had this vision, and I don't know if it's the Golden Dome creating this or if it's the sun creating this. I had this very powerful vision, lasted not very long, but in my vision, everyone was getting along. There was scarcity, but no one was worried because whoever needed something, something would be given them. The neighbors, anyone capable would step up and just take care of it. People were happy. People were carefree. People were not really carefree because times were very difficult, but people were stepping up and supporting each other, and they were just happy. But then we bring in the Golden Dome. Were people just happy because they were kind of forced through a frequency? Or were they happy because maybe the sun gave us some type of huge upgrade and we were finally freed? I don't know. I had that vision. It was very real. I only talk about the ones that hit me like a ton of bricks, like this one did, and it stays with me. So yeah, it does feel like the data centers and the Golden Dome definitely have the same vibration, which usually means it's coming from the same place.
Yeah, so I mean, I think some people were thinking the same thing, like look at the Matrix, right? And, fueling all those sentinels to come and get people and, that type of thing. Militarized drones, reports of people being sick all the time, air quality, noise pollution, too much EMF, all this stuff. It's, people are taking to the streets. They are taken to the streets. Utah's one, again, the energy of 23 Hiroshima-sized bombs, totally unacceptable, especially when you don't really know what they're for. We were supposing, but they never tell us anything. And they never tell us the truth. When they do tell us stuff, it's usually just a bunch of lies.
So I just have to point this out because Peter felt like he needed to point it out. He made himself a sweat bag and lined it with magnets. Why? He doesn't know. Magnets might be important. No, there's something there. Like your intuition is telling you to do something. Definitely follow it, good sir.
Yeah, this is pretty wild. Meanwhile, Israel just launched Operation Arrows of Fire. Schools closing across northern Israel tomorrow. Beirut evacuation tonight. IDF Home Front Command's telling its own citizens to prepare for what's coming. So, yeah, it looks like if Trump won't go along with what Netanyahu wants, then they'll go and do their own thing. And, this speaks back to that Mars and Pluto squaring. The timing is never coincidental.
No, the timing's never coincidental.
Yeah, again, the vast majority by far of the people on the planet don't want to see this war. It's just being called out for what it is. It's going to be a profit maker. And in fact, I did see where they were showing that people are buying stocks basically ahead of military moves that are related to the military moves. you have a situation where the Dow Jones is, at its all-time high, but more people are, having a harder time than ever to get by. This is just a reality. Who gives a crap what the stock markets do? The stocks are these companies that control us. That's the thing. They're the companies that are controlling us. They are the problem.
So, I mean, just, bringing it back into planetary alignments, with, yes, that Mars and Pluto, the chaos, but the chaos is directed in places of power struggles, buried anger surfacing, which could be happening in each one of us, obsession or compulsion, survival instincts, deep transformation through conflict. Isn't that curious? Deep transformation through conflict and explosive energies if emotions are repressed. So if you are having any kind of, explosions, that energy needed to come up, and it's okay. Honor yourself and get into that, primal roar. If you need to roar, you do it, because there's something in your body and soul that benefits from that, even if you have to scream in a pillow. So these are very strong energies that we are dealing with. And it starts at a personal level, but then you take that and you expand it out. So it's happening on a much bigger level.
So Delta Dental calls itself a nonprofit for the tax breaks, while its CEOs rake in $48 million over 4 years. This particular one, the pay jumped from $4.5 million a year to $15 million a year. Meanwhile, they slashed dentist reimbursements and patients paid more. That's how the system works. Yeah, exactly. It's just ridiculous. There's no person that needs that much money in a year, really. Again, this is where they cultivate corruption. They cultivate greed, and they count on it spreading like a cancer. Because if we always look at ourselves from the point of view of being competitive with others instead of cooperating, we're always going to end up with these type of issues and systems. The system is sick, and this is why it's going to, at some point in time, be washed away. It has to be for the greater good of the whole. Again, you can really liken it to parasites, and parasites attacking the body. You have to starve the parasites out. You have to use whatever means you can to get rid of the parasites before the parasites get rid of you and everything.
I know, and teeth, boy, that is definitely a very expensive thing to have your teeth even worked on these days. But it's also a racket, because the diet that they give us, the diet that they push, the diet that most people can afford is going to rot your teeth. When we eat sugar, a lot of what happens in our mouth happens from the stomach. So if you're having teeth pain, it's most likely because your stomach is inflamed, and that inflammation is going all the way up into the mouth. So if you can do things to work on and I learned this for myself, you work on the stomach a lot of times, not all the time, but a lot of times that can help resolve teeth issues.
Yeah, is it just a coincidence? Every place that's chosen to be a 15-minute city all of a sudden has mysterious weather issues, floods, fires, things like that, or even, war. It could be any of the things, but when you look at it, it's like the people that make the decisions are corrupt. And they're just taking, again, they take cash to better themselves and their families at the expense of everybody else. It's just one after another, after another. There's been so many of them. This one's showing Jamaica. Of course, we know Hawaii, Vision 2030 Jamaica, Asheville, North Carolina. We remember what happened there. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Hawaii, Maui there. And then Jakarta, Indonesia, same thing. Sudan, flooding. It's just everywhere you look. And Gaza has been totally wiped out, and then they have all their plans to reinvest in it. And they serve it up to us like, isn't it wonderful? No, it's not wonderful. It's totally diabolical.
It's pretty horrible.
it can't be tolerated, but they'll keep pushing as long as they're allowed to. This is talking about a map of the Ebola cases corresponding exactly to that of high exposure to arsenic. And, other people are catching other things too. Looking back through time, this person says, if I remembered correctly, there were wells that got contaminated with formaldehyde in Sierra Leone with some of that horrible diamond mining that was going on that drove the populations away. We see the same people showing up in the same places over and over again. You look at all the different biohazard labs around the world, and why would people ever make something worse? Why are they making diseases work? Why are they making factories for mosquitoes and apparently ticks too? Well, it's happening because everybody that's involved in decision making, they're all on the take. They are all getting paid off to basically cause misery around the world.
And I find it so sad that many people who discover this, they're kind of in a state of shock, not understanding why do they poison the food and water? Why do they put us in positions that, could ultimately harm us in a way where we get cancer and we die a slow and horrible death? Why? People just can't understand it. And the honest truth is it's because you cannot perceive it. You're an innocent soul. You're a young soul, innocent soul. But there are those people out there, they want control, and their goal is to, yes, make people feel very ill so that they might need the medical system, so that they might need prescriptions, so that they might need, and it's kind of like a cradle to grave type of income that so many controllers are invested in. So there's really good, so many doctors are finally waking up, and Karma Doc, she is one of them. She's awake, but she's rare. And then there's other doctors who are not even able to stand on the battlefield anymore. They are done. They've just seen too much blood pour, and there's nothing they can do. So too much red tape, unable to actually help people heal. Yet they might still have bills to pay, so they stay and they just do the best they can. So yeah, the world is pretty screwed up, and and I've seen the evil, I've seen what it could do, so it's not hard for me to understand that, just basically because of my own experiences, watching friends just die after I did everything I could, watching myself get sick after I did everything that I was told to do. Now you have to take control of your own health. A little bit of guidance is great, but don't allow yourself to be spoon-fed. Do the work. If a doctor is awake and is helping you, that's great. But no matter what they say, help yourself. Learn about things. If they say something, well, let's check this, then you go home and research on what that doctor wants to check, because you're in charge of you. And I think we're so used to just going into an office and handing over our health to someone and trusting them. That's become a very dangerous thing to do these days, unfortunately.
So yeah, Karma Doc was talking about ELF stations and water. ELF stations, it says there are massive land-based radio transmitter facilities used to send signals to deeply submerged submarines operating at very low frequencies. Their waves penetrate deep water and the Earth's crust. Interesting. Can it be used to manipulate the water flow? That's a question. Are they manipulating the water flow? Again, we had the Mississippi River doing odd things too. And then the mud floods, because there are a lot of reports when you look at it closely that make you think that there's some sort of liquefaction happening under the surface that ends up swallowing up everybody from below. Could there be technology out there that could do that? I think so. Could they induce a mud flood situation and all of a sudden, we find there's nowhere dry to go in our area?
And the ELF manipulates you. keep that in mind. It manipulates you. In the video that we did yesterday, I just really have to press on this, because their ability to send information into our brains and make us think that we are coming up with something on our own is incredibly advanced. So knowing the difference between you, your thoughts, your filter, what you are capable of perceiving through the universe, and knowing what might be a sterile bag of information coming from electronic external source becomes critical, because people have really harmed themselves not being able to get some of this information out of their head, and also thinking that it belongs to them. So always realize that whatever you're thinking, realize if it's bad, it might not belong to you. It could be something being sent from a different radio tower. We have to perceive these things now and realize that they want control. They don't care what they have to do. They just want control. And unfortunately, so many innocent, beautiful souls have already paid the ultimate price for them, doing what they do to try to gain control.
So this young man was just diagnosed with alpha-gal syndrome. He never thought a single tick bite could permanently change the way he eats and lives. So he's talking about no more cheeseburgers, no more steaks, no more dairy and milk and things like that. But I think you can overcome it. I really do think you could. This particular one here was, they were trying to use different essential oils, and basically it seemed that the ticks didn't like eucalyptus, maybe a little bit more than peppermint. Again, there's a lot of different ways to do that. Guinea fowl, I mean, we're considering that too. If we could find some, we might get some guinea fowl. I think there is some locally at certain times. We have bottles of this all over the place, and we still get the ticks, not really fleas. We use it all the time, every single day. We have it everywhere, and there's still ticks. It works pretty good, but again, I think here, when this person is bringing that up again, I think you can overcome it. But I think the average American on the average American diet won't overcome it, because you have to eliminate the processed foods. You have to boost the immune system. You have to do things like intermittent fasting and fasting. Again, you got to be willing to, get organic food wherever you can. You have to limit your exposure to toxins, because it is like a toxic overload that overwhelms the body.
Vitamin D becomes very important when it comes to these kind of viruses or any parasites. So vitamin D, wherever you can just get good quality vitamin D, the parasites in the body have a tendency to drain your vitamin D and actually suppress it, because they are able to thrive in a vitamin D deficient environment. So keep your vitamin D levels up. This really helps with the bites that are out there, all the ticks that are out there. Vitamin C, just really focus on you. And also keep in mind, sugar will feed all of those yucky things that the tick is transferring to you. So, so much we can do. We are absolutely not powerless. It's, are we ready to go the distance to get what we want?
Yeah, we're not asking for much. We just want to be left alone, and not targeted the way the system targets us. You have to ask yourself, why are these billionaires billionaires? Because they're carrying out the will of certain beings that are using them to police humanity. Again, corporations have a lot of power. And then you have the Gil Bates guy set up for alpha-gal since 2012. Yeah, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has funded alpha-gal syndrome AUI research at Vanderbilt since 2012, 14 years ago, right when this started to explode. Tick population surging nationwide, to levels that people are staggered over. And then he promotes synthetic lab-grown meat in 2013. By 2017, 20 million invested into companies with the synthetic meats, which nobody is buying. So, they have the traditional Aoshes, which nobody's really going to take either nowadays. Well, some people may. But, again, it's so obvious. Why is he walking free? I think everybody is wondering that. What makes him above any laws? Ask yourself that question. Why is he above any laws?
Right? And why isn't any lawmaker, for that matter? And no one is questioning him. So what does that tell you? They're all in on it. Doesn't matter which side.
Are they afraid of him?
Or are they afraid of him? Or is it both? It's just ridiculous. It's so, so ridiculous.
Ask yourself, are they afraid of him? What could what could that guy do to congressmen or senators or, again, what could he do that he's so powerful? How is he, above the law? Does he have some sort of, real protective guard that nobody knows about? I don't know. Could it be extraterrestrial in origin? Could it be ultra-terrestrial in origin? Is that what we're really saying, Prominent Daniel McAdams exposes possible mail-in ballot fraud with the Massey primary, which, Massey is not really going after that. I think he's looking more towards maybe 2028 or something bigger. He reveals 45,000 new voters inexplicably exclusively voted for the establishment. Massey lost by 10,280 votes, while his opponent miraculously received 10,854 mail-in ballots, just enough to get him that election there. Yeah, it just didn't seem right. Again, the voting numbers really looked just like what we saw in that Biden election, So if one side can do it, the other side can do it, because ultimately two wings on the same bird.
Yeah, they're definitely, it's just the same old bird, but also they can go in there and it's just a matter of a couple of keystrokes and then everything's all fixed. And all of this is pre-planned anyway. Most of it is just to get us outraged so that another type of being can, drink from your energy field. If you allow yourself to get angry, do not get angry about this stuff, because then you're just giving in. But you want to empower yourself as much as possible so you don't have to be susceptible to the control.
Yeah, and I agree, Martine, voting never solves anything, because they just simply make it the way it is. And, when all the judges are on the take too, it's just...
Voting empowers them and reinforces them.
There's only one choice, and that's getting rid of the system. But I think they expect us to, at some point, get rid of the system, and they want to have something to offer instead that they think everybody will bite on and say, okay, we'll take that. And it'll be a bigger trap than the one we were in, or at least as big. Robbie says, okay, alpha gal, alpha male. Well, gal and male is not... Wait a minute. Is there something else going on here with, the naming? Yeah. Yeah, that could be. A rare positive in Iran as U.S. talks proceed to end the war. Internet ban lifted after nearly 90-day blackout. Iran has reportedly lifted its nationwide internet ban after nearly 90 days. Meanwhile, you have Ursula in the EU saying she might have to instill a ban, if people aren't going to go along with the things that the weafer globalists want. Israel dramatically ramps up war and bombing of Lebanon, citing Hezbollah drones on its territory. Yeah, it's all this is so obvious now. We know Israel, well, the people that are in charge there, not most people, just the people that are in charge there, they want greater Israel. So they want to take over other countries' territories. That's just part of the bigger plan. But, the reality is almost everybody doesn't want the war, but there are people in the know, especially a lot of corrupt politicians that are making tons of money off the war and then the rebuilding effort after.
Yeah, it's just every step they're looking for ways to allow us to, in some way, shape, or form, step into a pothole, whether that means a slip with our health, a slip with our mental health, a slip with our families, a social slip, getting us pitted against each other every step, taking advantage
of people going through awakenings. And I just have to say this because Karma Doc brought up a very good point, and I was talking to someone about it a bit ago. I don't remember who, but it was important that when you go through an awakening, and you're going to have several awakenings, that knowing that you're going to get sensitive and certain things in your life might not be tolerable. Well, some things, if you're having trouble before you do something, because this has happened to sensitive people, it's happened. But this system is not in favor for sensitive people. But before you do something like sell everything and move to another country, or decide to shave your head and join a movement or anything, or any big thing, check with someone who lives somewhere else and is level-headed, and someone who loves you. And trust that. Just hang on. The energies can be very powerful when we're going through an awakening, and the tendency to get angry and want to run away is also very, very powerful. It is a thing where mystics sometimes don't do well. So just, recognize that in yourself. Find some help if you're having trouble with all the sensitivity going on.
And this was showing some strange radar anomaly that's almost perfectly square. So what are they doing over here exactly? Is it just steering weather, or is there a ship there? There's so much of this stuff going on. Here you got, this doesn't look very advanced, but apparently this was making a crop circle. It looks like people were using scythes to just simply bring down the wheat. But yeah, this looks very mechanical. It doesn't look very high tech. It could be anybody's, in reality. This is the age of drones. It really is. Right. Yeah, it's got like standard lights on it and tires and stuff. So yeah, unidentified object in India there, but then there's so many others. This one was released by the Pentagon. All sorts of stuff up there. A lot of classic saucers, a lot of triangular ships. Again, most of the triangulars are ours, but doesn't mean that they can't have ETs, or let's just say non-Homo sapiens on board with them. Oh no. And then there's so much. This is Jay Anderson. This is in Egypt. Serapeum gives me goosebumps every time I go inside. 70 plus ton mirror polished granite boxes, all housed in their own special chambers deep inside a subterranean labyrinth in the Egyptian desert. We had talked about this. These were related to very, very pompous, arrogant Anunnaki, I guess you would say.
Well, they are, and our handicap here is they have been through this many times, many different rodeos, and for us, with the exception of our DNA memory, this is our first time. So yeah, there's a lot of things out there that we don't know, and that's just so saying that I've always held on to. You don't know what you don't know, so always allow yourself to remain open.
Like looking at the remnants of an alien world. Exactly, because it would have looked alien to us with the history that we're given. What exactly are we looking at here? This just looks weird. Again, Meltology, John Levy was doing one again, showing melted ruins and showing in depth how you could see these mountains were just simply buildings that got melted. What type of weapon would do that? It would be something very advanced, and tell you what, it's mounted up in the sky. They might be mounted and aimed at us right now.
They very well could be, and they could be waiting for us to reach a certain point where we're not controllable and then push the button.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that has happened before. They have some tricks up their sleeves, so to speak. Rebirthing chambers. Ooh. Interesting. And this person finds molten blobs of copper in a place they never expected to find anything. And he says this thing is really large and it's going underneath him there. There's so much stuff. Whenever I was digging post holes for the chicken coop, and I'm always looking out to see if I get any pottery or anything, Native American. I have a relic right in front of me here that we found. I think this was in Nevada. And to me, it looks like a little human face. It's really cool. It's definitely handmade, and it might be very old. I've kept it around. It's just really cool. I have to take a photo of you. If somebody hand painted this,
It looks like red clay, though. There's no paint on it.
It's red clay. So, it's somebody made it. I don't know what they made it for, but it looks like a little figurine. And I think if I'm remembering right, we took it from our property that we owed there. We owned just like a little over a acre in the desert, and that's where we were camping out and watching the ships all the time. I was talking about Kazakhstan, I think yesterday or the day before. Look at this door. This is in Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan to me is Tartaria. It's part of Tartaria. And I think that's a door befitting a giant. It might just be that is just a petrified tree, and or something like that. Or it could be a giant's door, absolutely.
Or for a dragon.
Oh, yes.
I do like my dragons.
Pinch Runner's asking for healing energy for her puppies. One has an abscess tooth that could be miserable. It's on antibiotics. DMSO might help, and also colloidal.
Yeah, definitely dig into the castor oil, DSMO, colloidal silver, all the things, and keep the water filtered. Just keep trying, and we will definitely send out that energy to those precious, precious angels.
Yeah, Karma Doc, you have to come on. We have to do a show again because you have so much good information and good things. This is Wisconsin LIDAR. What's under there? I mean, what's really under there? What about these structures? We have so much under our feet that would probably amaze us if we ever could see the cultures that existed in our past that apparently just were completely covered over.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. The world that we live in is so incredible, and it's fun. There's a lot of aspects of the world, even though that, like all of us, we don't appreciate the AI, but, it's kind of depends on how it's used. I think it's the tool, it's nothing wrong with the tool. It's how the tool is used, but it is great to have this reach into our world if we can't go and do the traveling ourselves.
Yeah, I think if AI was created at a point in time when it was a benevolent age where people treated each other the right way, it could be used in very positive ways.
Oh, very positive. Indeed.
Has been created. What we got is basically an AI that was created in a dark, corrupt system that lies to everybody and gives us mythological histories and covers up the fact that very advanced civilizations have been right under our feet. How about this? Look at this little waterway. This is in Ollantaytambo in Peru. This is on our list too. If you just run your hand along it, it's like there's some sort of technology that changes the water flow. This area is actually off limits now. They're not allowing anybody to look at it and play with it like this person is. There's been just amazing technology that we've had. And the thing that's really that we should take note is that we've had it at a point in time where we chose to live in a very, very harmonic way, a resonance with the planet, choosing not to do things that poison and toxify the planet, but to live in a very, very symbiotic relationship.
I know. I mean, look what our own energy can do. And that's just such a small, teeny, tiny example of what our energy can do and how it affects water. It's amazing, making sure that you're hydrated is so critical, but not only hydrated, your thoughts, because your thoughts morph that.
So Karma Doc says she's been there, and she says you can feel the energy just touching the rocks there. Yeah, it's a sacred. I am so drawn to this area in the country, in Peru, basically. Other areas too, but it feels like Peru was one of the peaks of better civilization in harmonious times. So it's definitely on the list. I've been close to South America, but I've never been in South America, just Northern America, Central America, and the Caribbean. So there's so much of the world to explore, and we got to take Cindy somewhere because she hasn't been anywhere yet.
Well, Rama and Sita are currently looking to find a babysitter still.
Yeah, and Cindy was out cutting the lawn today, and Rama was howling, just howling because she was out of his reach, and can't have Mama where I can't be right there. Now, she was in the front yard cutting, and in the backyard, that's where he has access to. It's all fenced in the back, so there they could be out there, but not in the front. We haven't fenced that off. It's like almost 2 acres out front. And, it's just what it is. But, boy, he has really, what do you call it? He's got some sort of anxiety.
Get lost. He thinks we're going to get lost. He thinks I'm going to crash. He thinks I'm going to talk to strangers, on and on and on and on. And he just worries so much. And we need to help Rama. Rama needs somebody very special, for sure.
Karma Doc will go back with us anytime and has a Inca shaman friend. That would be awesome. I would so love it. So now we just need somebody to babysit the dogs, and we're off.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, Great Wall of China. Do you know how big it is? And again, is it of China or is it really of Tartaria? Because again, just even the facing of the wall doesn't make you think it's really the way it was said to be. It's enormous. It is huge. Why did they build it? And who built it? And, there's another wall up in Siberia, which is a mammoth. It actually goes way out into the ocean itself. So it's given us a clue that was put up there at a time when sea level was probably 200-300 feet lower than it is now, because it was locked up in the ice packs.
Yeah, pretty crazy stuff.
Oh my gosh, it's just, there is so much out there to see and explore. Then, you got these mummies that pop up. This one supposedly is from Mexico. We saw the ones in Peru that were verified to be, they're not humans. They are real. I mean, it's been out there. There's been a lot of different beings on the planet, and we will have a lot of access, I think, to seeing in our lives. If we just have to make.
We have a volunteer. Do you see who it is?
I didn't. Oh, Zeno.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. We would definitely.
But they have to train her. You'll have to come here. It's going to have to be like a week worth of training for them to train you, and then we'll be gone for 2 weeks. So Zeno, I know you have a family, so sit and think about that. Thanks.
But we would love it. We would appreciate it, Jen. We would bring you back whatever we could from Peru.
Yes.
Maybe a mummy. Stick it in the yard. How about Angkor Wat? I mean, it's just another one of those just insane clues that we've had really advanced civilizations on this planet.
Oh, absolutely insane. I mean, the world is crazy.
And there may be far more underneath the surface that's still buried. I think there is. I think that's guaranteed. And then how about the stories of the Dragon Kings? And here they're talking also about these star kings that came from the sky. And yeah, I think the thing is, we've always been under the influence of ultra-terrestrials, extraterrestrials. It just depends on the age. We've grown up with the bad ones. And they're trying to get us paranoid about the good guys coming back. There's nothing to be fearful from the good guys. They're not going to force themselves on anybody. The system that's in place is the bad ones, and it's serving them. And they've done their best to keep humanity enslaved. That's basically the realization that more and more of the world is coming to. It's pretty much over already, except for the total collapse of the system. Disclosure's been done, and this is talking about what we've seen. These are ours, and this is Michael Salla, by the way, talking about Dr. Stephen Greer, showing an image that's probably coming from Northrop Grumman or Raytheon. Again, these are ours, but these also often do have grays, and they will have often reptilian beings on them too, because ultimately, as we said, the takeover happened thousands of years ago. The erasing of the history was erasing the history of free Earth, which, again, that's been a contested thing for a long time, because as we were talking about today, I think in the first video we did today, this planet is claimed by the Draco, or by the reptilians, you could say the greater reptilian family, as being theirs because they were the first to actually settle this planet. But it was basically destroyed and then re-brought back to life. Originally we were Tiamat, and then were brought back as Earth. And then there were agreements put into place to allow humans to be here, and also have a certain number of reptilians living inside the Earth, and having other civilizations in the oceans that were to remain out of our sight, so we can evolve in a quote-unquote natural way on our own pace. But the reality is, again, they've utilized different means to corrupt our politicians, to bribe people into doing things that, again, are affecting humanity and the surface population of the Earth, all the creatures, in a negative way.
Indeed.
More and more sources are coming online, realizing this. So this is great, because it's only a matter of time. The human body itself is basically made of liquid crystal. CIA declassified documents explain how the human body is actually made of liquid crystal, with the ability to do amazing things, including creating biofields or superconductivity. This has massive implications, right? Oh yeah, again, we can transmit energy. It's just a matter of focused intent and training. That's all it is. And anybody can learn to be a energy healer. But again, anybody can learn to shoot a basketball, but not everybody is going to be a Michael Jordan, or you get it, Magic Johnson. I'm talking back in my day. Again, whoever is out there playing now, anybody can shoot a ball, but not everybody's going to be, NBA calendar, category. They're not going to be at that level. But anybody can learn, and we can affect reality. Absolutely. Our consciousness. This whole reality is for our consciousness. This is from that CIA.gov document. Could a device be created which would prove definitely whether or not an individual possesses electrical potential or a biofield? We do have that. And yes, we absolutely do have that already. Again, a lot of these are from way in the past, being released at certain times. This was released back in 2002. But yeah, the human biosphere, chakras, those are all things that are proved. They were woo-woo-fied for so long because the system didn't want you realizing it, but now we know. EMF affects you. ELF can affect you. PEMF could be useful. Energy work like Reiki, Qigong, pranic healing, it's real. It is real, and it's very powerful.
It is. It's very powerful. Energy is critical, and that's why we like to teach people how to manage their energy. You don't want it going to the darker forces, and this brings up Max Meeks and his comment. He says, anyone think that all the bad news is to purposely stress out those who watch, but just living your life and having any job will allow you to care. I agree. So what we love to do is help people, because people can't help but look. It's like if you tell people don't look down, they're going to look down. But if you can teach someone, look, manage your energy. Do not connect to that. Do not give it anything. Take a look if you must, but have that Buddhist detachment, because that's exactly what it's all about. It's all about managing and manipulating our frequency in a time where being at the highest vibration possible is critical. Thanks for pointing that out, Max.
Absolutely. This states right here, an individual capable of using his own brain, which incidentally is a liquid crystal in classical form, to create a space tunnel effect is also capable of causing magnetic field to whirl and thus of transmitting kinetic energy to various objects. So again, through training, you can magnify that. But what this article doesn't get into is the fact that the yugas have changed. And everything is accelerating. Our abilities are increasing exponentially. And also, we are also regaining past abilities that they've tried to genetically engineer out of us.
And those who you have connected with now at this point are just so important for the whole DNA awakening. Every person that you run into, that you jive with, or that you can understand or speaks your language, you have something to offer that person, and you have a connection, a deeper connection in a time where disconnection seems to be the thing that's put up on the highest pedestal according, to the masses. Oh, the technology, you don't have to actually go and talk to someone. You can just send it. No, I mean, that's killing us. We can see how that's working. It's not working well. So the relationships that we do have should be nurtured and should be cherished and, love each other, because that's what's keeping our frequency high, as each other. And sometimes, people might have bad habits and all, but everybody has bad habits. If someone upsets you because of their habits, make sure you're also looking at your own habits. And, if, tolerance is something, if you want tolerance for yourself, you give tolerance. If you want trust, you give trust. If you want company, you give company. If you want grace, you give grace. If you want forgiveness, you forgive. And that's the connection and the energetic world that we live in, and that's what's amplifying.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, everything has always been there, as we know. They've just started to declassify things that should get us all saying, oh, don't you dare try to classify this stuff anymore. It's time. It's time for us to make the change that we need. And I really almost feel like they're just like bullies, that they're going to keep doing things until you stand up to them and say, no, we don't accept this. This little guy just saved a tree from drowning.
Oh, isn't he so sweet? What a good little boy. He's just doing his best. He's doing his part.
He's so cute. Thank you guys so much for your support. As always, Cindy's going to give us some dings.
But I just want to remind people that Promo Life is having that sale, I think, through today. And then do check out LifeWave, because we keep seeing people that are just having really good luck with it. It is a very good healing modality. They make patches for horses, for animals. It's worked on CETA, so I have to at least give it an honorable mention, because it has been very useful and very good to us and part of our daily habit.
Yeah, absolutely. I took a 2-day break so far from using the patches while I'm fasting, to let the body do what it's doing at its regular pace, but then I'll go back to using the patches once I'm off the fasting. That was just what I wanted to do, because I hadn't fasted prolonged while on the patches before. But the patches definitely, they could again do some of what the fast is doing, as far as like triggering your stem cells to awaken again. That is so powerful.
Miss Mary Moore, Will, everyone I'm going through, I did not make my list. I'm going to owe some thank yous. Thank you for your guys' support. It means a lot to us. Big Blue Puppy, Frankie, thank you so much. You guys, we really appreciate it a lot. I do want to say, and Max, thank you, Max. I do want to say, please hold your prayer, keep up your prayers for our friend Carrie, and Lori, our family member Lori, and her husband, because it feels like he needs some guidance. He's a little stuck, and just thanks you guys for everything you do. So here's oh, and prayers. I know we have a couple people in there going through some things, and realize that this energy is for you, and these prayers are for you too. Hold on. You all are so extremely beautiful and wonderful and amazing. And thank you so much for joining us. When you could do anything, you chose to be with us, and we appreciate that.
Yeah, that's a huge blessing. Loka samasta suki no bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and free. And may my own words, acts, thoughts, and deeds contribute to the happiness and freedom for all. That's our wish for everyone. As always, Source bless. Namaste.